This video is part 2 of 3 in the series Prepare to Publish, which is part of the Researcher Workshop series from the University of Northern Colorado Libraries. This is a condensed recording of a workshop offered in April of 2018. All accompanying material to this workshop, including handouts and links to tools, is available at the website shown. You can access all videos from the Researcher Workshop series through this URL. This link is also provided in the YouTube video description. My name is Stephanie Wiegand, and I am a librarian with the Library Research Services Department at the University of Northern Colorado, and I will be guiding you through today's material. Please feel free to contact me or any member of the Library Research Services Department with any questions you have. Part 2 of the Prepare to Publish series covers journal selection for your manuscript. The outcomes for this portion are for you to be able to list important factors for you to consider as an author when choosing a journal or publisher, identify the tools that can assist authors in determining which journal best fits your manuscript, understand what predatory journals are and how to avoid them. Why is journal selection so important? For most of us, publishing research is important both to share new knowledge within our professions and beyond, and for our individual careers, where our evaluations and promotions may be directly tied to our ability to publish. Determining the publication factors important to you and your discipline will help you choose the right journal, which in turn will lead to fewer manuscript rejections, shorter time periods between manuscript submission and publication, fewer manuscript revisions, which also reduces the time between submission and publication, ensuring that publication choice meets all criteria necessary to your discipline, department, and evaluation and promotion guidelines, reaching the appropriate audience for your research and greatest impact in your profession, increasing your reputation and visibility within your profession. Pause this video to take a few moments to consider what you look for in a journal when you are considering publication. Jot down some notes or go to the address on the screen to share your thoughts on what makes a good journal for potential authors. The one thing all scholars agree on when it comes to journal selection for publication is that their manuscript must fit the journal. So what exactly is fit? Generally, when authors talk about fit, they are talking about whether or not the topic of the manuscript fits the scope of the journal. The importance of fit cannot be underestimated. You do not want to delay publication of your manuscript for months because the editor of the journal decides that your topic is not suitable for their journal. But fit can also indicate a parameter such as article type, as some journals will only publish qualitative studies and others only quantitative studies. Many journals will only publish articles within a specific word or page range, and submitting a 40-page manuscript to a journal that only publishes articles ranging from 10 to 15 pages in length is sure to lead to rejection and another delay in publication. To ensure your manuscript fits, read the journal description and submission guidelines or author information on the journal website. Also, look to your manuscript bibliography. After all, you likely cited articles on your topic, and those articles have already proven their fit within a journal. The remaining journal selection criteria fit into 5 categories: likelihood of manuscript acceptance, journal reputation, journal visibility and potential for article impact, likelihood of timely publication, and philosophical and ethical issues. A note about the lists we are about to review. No one considers each and every one of these factors. Generally, beyond fit, authors will look at 3 to 5 additional factors important to them individually and to their discipline or department. The following lists of factors are to give you an idea of what you may want to consider when looking for a place to publish. Please take a few moments to browse through the lists of journal selection criteria in each category. If you are uncertain as to what a specific term means, please visit the web address on the screen for a glossary of these terms. Following this guide, each list of criteria will play for 5 seconds, so please pause the play of this video to consider each list. Following the list will be a demonstration of tools to help you consider important criteria in journal selection. So let's look at some of these tools that we can use to find the information we need to determine if a journal is the right journal. Let's say I've authored a manuscript on qualitative research concerning the relationship between family proximity and depression in older adults. So pretend for a moment that I have a background in gerontology. I definitely want other gerontologists to read this article. However, this topic may also be of interest to healthcare workers, social workers, community planners, psychologists, and others. I look through the manuscript's bibliography and find multiple articles from the Journal of Aging Studies. Knowing already that this journal publishes articles that are either convergent or tangential to my topic, I want to find out more. To start, I will Google the journal title to find the journal homepage. This is a journal from the publisher Elsevier, so I recognize the name of the publisher. While on the website, I'm going to check multiple factors. First, I'll check the editor and editorial board. I'm looking for name recognition and credentials. If this was a journal that I was completely unfamiliar with, I might even email one of the editors to ask a question about the journal, just to ensure that the people listed are actually on the editorial board. Next, I'm going to look at the journal policies for the authors by clicking on the Guide for Authors to see what information is provided. Page 5 has sections on author rights and open access. Pages 6 through 12 have specific information on manuscript preparation. And page 12 includes a section concerning after acceptance that answers my question about electronic publication before print. With any fully open access journal or hybrid open access journal, I'm going to check for author charges. I'm also going to look for the journal cost. Navigating back to the journal website, I'm going to look at recent and most cited articles, looking for authors I know, online publication tracking, and persistent identifiers. Both the impact factor and the abstracting and indexing is clearly marked on this website. But because I know some journals lie, I'm going to check this information through independent information sources. My next step will be to consider geographic bias, significance bias, author institution bias, journal methodology bias, look for the number of issues published each year, and continue looking for authors I know and topics that seem appropriate to the journal I'm considering. To do so, I will head to the University Library's homepage and use the journal title search to access the full text of several issues of the journal to determine any specific biases the journal may have. I should not need to read entire articles to find this information. but rather skim authors, author contact information, and article abstracts. To determine the longevity of the journal, peer review status, and abstracting and indexing, I'm going to use a tool called Ulrich's Web. This tool can be accessed through the libraries. It is found on the database's A to Z list. Click on U and then click on Ulrich's Web to enter. This is a librarian's database. It is a database you will only ever use when trying to find specific information about the journal. Searching the journal title, I find 3 matches. One is for the print version, one is for the electronic version, and one is for a defunct format. This title is refereed, which is the term used for peer review in the database. It does not give the year that this journal was established, which is generally given, so I may have to go back to the journal homepage for that information. Navigating to the drop-down for abstracting and indexing, I can review the databases this journal is indexed in. Okay, thankfully we are getting towards the end of our list, and my next criteria to check is impact factor. As a note, it is important to understand that not all journals have impact factors, and the fact that a journal does not have an impact factor does not indicate that the journal is low quality. It may be an indication that the journal is new, or it is simply not indexed by Web of Science. However, always check journal citation reports if you are required to publish in a journal with an impact factor, or a journal website lists an impact factor. Navigate to journal citation reports by navigating back to the University Library's homepage, finding the database A to Z list, and using the alphabetical listing to access the database. The journal impact factor is given, along with information about how this number is calculated. Notice that information concerning geographic bias and author institution bias can also be found here. The only tool at the university libraries to check acceptance and rejection rates is Cabell's directories. Again, this is not a comprehensive source, and the lack of inclusion in Cabell's should not be taken as an indication of a low-quality journal. And even though this journal is included in Cabell's, no acceptance rate data is provided. Okay, so the last 2 criteria that we need to consider are journal prestige and journal ethics, which are combinations of criteria we have already determined. Again, I want to stress that no author that I've met considers every one of these criteria. But of those you do consider, think about what you know about the prestige of the journal overall. Repeat this process concerning what you know that adds up to create a picture of the journal's ethics. You are now ready to make a determination about whether this is a suitable journal to publish in. So let's take a moment to consider something you've probably been hearing more and more about: predatory journals. Predatory journals are known by several names. A predatory journal is an opportunistic publishing venue that exploits the academic need to publish, but offers little reward for those using their services. There is no one test that will tell you if a journal is predatory or not, but there are characteristics that you can watch for. There is little editing or peer review in predatory journals, so flip through several issues of a journal to determine what you think of the content. Predatory journals make false claims. They will list an impact factor when Journal Citation Reports has not given them an impact factor, or they will list well-known scholars and editors when those individuals don't know anything about it. Predatory journals engage in unethical business practices, such as approving a manuscript as soon as it has been submitted, posting it to the web without copyright being signed over by the author, and refusing to take the article down when asked. Predatory journals often have such broad titles that you could imagine almost any article topic being appropriate to the content. Often, authors are made aware of these journals because the publishers send emails directly to faculty, saying something like, "We've heard of your work and would very much like to publish your next article." Let's try another demonstration. I received an email from the International Journal of Health Sciences and Research. Please note, this is a mock email. The journal is real, but the email is not. It is vaguely flattering, and I do have a manuscript that I need to see published before my next evaluation. I am suspicious that one journal covers all of these areas of healthcare, but let's take a look. I Googled the journal name to find the home page. Because I am already suspicious of this journal, I'm going to look for information that can easily be verified. The website is not very professional looking, but I don't really want to completely judge a journal on whether or not they have a professional web design. But they do list the impact factor very prominently on the web page. So let's go back to the library homepage, access Journal Citation Reports, and look up the journal to see if it is a journal listed in the database and if the impact factor listed is the same as on the journal website. So Journal Citation Reports does not list this journal. And as impact factors are a trademarked product from this vendor, we know that the International Journal of Health Sciences and Research lied about this. So because this journal has a too broad umbrella as far as topics it covers, the web page is unprofessional, and they lied about the impact factor, I know enough that I will steer clear of this journal. Let me ask you a question. What's so wrong with publishing in a predatory journal? You know you did good research, so why is it a worry that it ends up being in a journal that uses predatory or unethical practices? There are a few reasons. First, you don't want to shell out money or receive demands for money from an unethical publisher. Second, predatory publishers sometimes immediately post articles upon receiving the manuscript, and sometimes the version posted still has errors, so it may not be a true picture of the research. Third, researchers are often embarrassed to have published in a predatory journal or worry about negative evaluations, so they don't include the work in their vita. So you've just sat through an overly long video on journal selection criteria and predatory publishers. Are you exhausted and overwhelmed? Never fear. There are people on your campus who will help you through this process. The librarians at the University of Northern Colorado Libraries are happy to help you find information on a journal and help you determine if the journal may use predatory practices.